Most people do not lose their first $10,000 because they are broke. They lose it because, for the first time, they feel safe. And safety is dangerous when your habits are still poor. The moment your account starts looking stronger, your brain starts negotiating. One upgrade, one trip, one reward, one. I'll put it back later. And slowly, the money that could have become $300,000 turns back into zero. Not because you are stupid, not because you do not care about your future, but because your brain was trained to survive money, not hold it. That is the part nobody tells you. Saving your first $10,000 is not the real challenge. The real challenge is becoming the kind of person who does not destroy it the moment it starts giving you comfort. Because $10,000 is not just money. It is a mirror. It shows your discipline. It shows your patience. It shows your impulses. It shows whether you truly want freedom or whether you only wanted enough money to buy a better version of the same old life. That is why so many people never turn $10,000 into $300,000. They do not fail because the math is impossible. They fail because their behavior keeps restarting the math. They save. They spend. They save again. They panic. They reward themselves. They start over. They promise this time will be different. Then the same habits quietly pull them back to zero. And after years of working, earning, trying, and stressing, they look at their life and wonder, why am I still in the same place? The answer is painful. Sometimes your income is not the problem. Sometimes your problem is that your money never gets enough time to become powerful. You keep interrupting it. You keep touching it. You keep borrowing from it. You keep making it pay for emotions that should have been handled another way. Stress, boredom, shame, loneliness, comparison, pride. The need to feel like life is finally improving. That is how money disappears. Not always through one big mistake. Sometimes it disappears through 100 small moments where your future loses an argument with your mood at $0 saved before the next problem. You get paid, but nothing stays. You try, your brain does not immediately become calm. It becomes uncomfortable because keeping money feels unnatural when you have spent years watching it disappear. You see money sitting there, and part of you feels proud, but another part of you starts looking for a reason to use it because your mind is used to money having movement. Money comes in, money goes out. Money fixes something. Money reduces pressure. Money gives relief. Money proves that the struggle meant something. So, at 0A Brurira, the first battle is not investing. It is not becoming rich. It is not turning $10,000 into $300,000. The first battle is proving to yourself that money can enter your life, and not immediately leave. That sounds simple, but for someone who has always lived close to the edge, it is a complete identity shift. Because being broke does not only affect your bank account. It trains your nervous system. It trains you to rush. It trains you to fear delay. It trains you to solve today and sacrifice tomorrow. It trains you to believe that if something good appears, you should take it now, because it may not be there later. That survival instinct may have helped you get through hard times, but the same instinct can destroy your future when you finally start making progress. Then you reach your first $1,000. And for the first time, there is a small wall between you and chaos. Not a big wall, not a fortress, but something. A flat tire no longer feels like the end of the world. A small emergency no longer feels like a personal attack. A bill still hurts. It changes your nervous system. You sleep a little better. You think a little clearer. You panic a little less. You feel slightly less controlled by life. But this is where the first trap appears. Because once your brain feels relief, I have been responsible. I have been holding back. I have been trying. Maybe I can loosen up a little. Maybe I can buy one thing. Maybe I can enjoy one weekend. Maybe I can upgrade something small. And maybe you can. But the danger is not the purchase. The danger is the pattern. Because the first $1,000 proves you can save money when you are scared. But it does not prove you can keep saving when you feel safe. Those are two different people. Fear can make you disciplined for a short time. Pain can make you serious for a short time. Pressure can force you to change for a short time. But if your discipline only exists when life is painful without turning relief into spending, can you enjoy progress to become part of your new identity? Because the first $1,000 is not really about the money. It is proof that you are learning to create distance is where wealth begins. Then you reach $5,000, and $5,000 feels different. It feels real. It feels like you are no longer the person you used to be. You may look at the account and think, I finally have something. I finally built something. I am finally ahead of where I used to be. That feeling can be powerful, but it can also become dangerous because $5,000 feels huge when you remember having nothing. But in real life, $5,000 is still fragile. One bad repair can hit it. One medical bill can cut it. One job loss can drain it. One emotional season can quietly eat it. One move, one trip, one emergency, 1 month of bad decisions. And suddenly, the money that made you feel secure is gone. This is where people confuse progress with protection. They think because they have more than before, they are safe. But more than before is not the same as enough. And if your habits have not changed, $5,000 is not protection. It is temptation. Because now, things that once felt impossible start looking reasonable. That phone you delayed. That trip you skipped. That car upgrade you wanted. That better apartment. That small lifestyle improvement that whispers, you can afford this now. And the dangerous part is, technically, you can. But that is not the right question. Most people ask, can I buy this? Wealthy people ask, what will this delay? Can you buy the phone? Maybe, but will it delay your emergency fund? Can you take the trip? Maybe, but will it delay your investment account? Can you upgrade the car? Maybe, but will it delay the moment when your money starts working for you? Every financial decision has two prices, the price you pay today and the future you postpone. Most people only see the first price. That is why $5,000 can disappear so easily. Not because people hate their future, but because the present finally feels strong enough to demand attention. Then you reach $10,000, and this is where the real test begins. For many people, $10,000 is the first amount that feels serious. It is no longer just a little cushion. It is no longer just a few extra dollars. It looks like proof. Proof that you can save. Proof that you can change. Proof that you are not who you used to be. And that is true. But $10,000 also plays a trick on your mind. It feels big enough to relax, but not big enough to make you free. It feels like success, but it is really only the beginning of success. It feels like safety, but it is really only the first layer of safety. That is why so many people lose it. Because the moment they see $10,000, they stop treating it like a foundation and start treating it like extra money. They tell themselves, I can take a little, I can replace it later. I can enjoy some of it. I have earned this. I have been disciplined enough, but I will put it back later. Is one of the most expensive lies in personal finance, because later usually comes with another excuse, another bill, another problem, another desire, another stressful month, another reason to wait. And once you break the boundary once, it becomes easier to break again. That is how $10,000 disappears. Not all at once, piece by piece. A small withdrawal, a small upgrade, a small reward, a small emergency, a small promise to fix it later. Then one day, the account no longer feels powerful. It feels familiar, back near zero, back to stress. Back to starting over. This is why your first $10,000 needs a mission. Not a vague hope. Not a weak plan. A mission. If this money has no purpose, your emotions will give it one. When you are stressed, it becomes escape. When you are tired, it becomes comfort. When you are insecure, it becomes image. When you are bored, it becomes entertainment. When you are proud, it becomes reward. Money without a purpose becomes available to your mood. And your mood is not qualified to manage your future. That is why $10,000 is not there to make you feel rich. It is there to make you harder to break. It is there to stop every problem from becoming panic. It is there to give you room to think, room to wait, room to say no, room to avoid bad debt, room to make better decisions. If you spend it too early, you do not just lose the money, you lose the person you were becoming while you saved it. Then comes the level most people never talk about, $25,000. This is the boring middle. And the boring middle is where discipline either becomes real. Is this it? Is this really working? Why does progress still feel slow? Why am I sacrificing if my life still looks normal? That question is dangerous, because when progress feels invisible, you cannot see yet. That is hard, because your brain likes proof. It likes movement. It likes visible rewards. It likes the feeling that something is happening. But wealth often grows quietly. Debt shrinks quietly. Savings grow quietly. Investments compound quietly. Better habits form quietly. Impulse purchases become less frequent quietly. Confidence becomes real quietly. And then one day, the result looks sudden to everyone else. But it was not sudden. It was the boring middle. It was the months when nothing exciting happened, then treat it like extra money. But a seed is not extra. A seed is future life. If you plant it, protect it, and give it time, it will never become anything. That is how $10,000 becomes $25,000, how $25,000 becomes $100,000, and how $100,000 can begin moving toward $300,000. Not through magic, not through hype, not through trying to get rich overnight, but through a person who stopped sabotaging the seed. This is the real warning. Your brain will try to destroy your first $10,000, not because it hates you, but because it wants relief. It wants reward. It wants comfort. It wants proof. It wants to feel like all the struggle meant something. But sometimes the best proof that you are changing is not what you buy. It is what you can finally stop yourself from buying. Sometimes the best reward is not spending the money. It is keeping it, letting it grow, letting it protect you. Because the path is not hidden. The math is not magic. The real battle is whether you can stay patient long enough for simple decisions to become life-changing. And if you can now, your first $10,000 may not make you rich, but it can become the first proof that you are no longer the kind of person who destroys every chance at freedom the moment it appears.